Hello. It is Saturday, not Friday. This is my new video day, I think. It's been a weird week. Hello, people. By the way, I am Brandon. I'm here. So yeah, crazy week. So I started my new job this week. That's a thing. Work, yeah. But I'm all like excited because it's like all this new stuff to learn and all this like stuff that I feel really uncomfortable. Like I'm scared. I'm like freaking out. I feel like I'm like at that edge where it's like I understand some of this, but there's some of the stuff that like I'm just gonna have to like get used to it. It's really complicated stuff. So, yeah, that's what I like to be. I like to be right on that like edge of like I'm uncomfortable, but I'm not like so uncomfortable that I'm frozen. You know what I mean? It's like that right little edge where like I'm excited about learning something new, and I feel nervous because I don't know what I'm talking about or I don't know what I'm looking at. But I know that that means that I'm learning, you know? Like my brain is tired this week from all the learning. So, yay! That's cool. That's exciting too. What I did want to talk about though was the idea that like sometimes when things in life are going well, right, or going decently, we have a habit as humans of basically like self-sabotaging or like kind of creating roadblocks to our own success. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of ways that this can happen. I can really only use myself as an example though. So for me, my issue is always that when things start going well, I have this internal dialogue like you don't deserve this success. You haven't put in enough time, or you're not smart enough to handle something like this, or you're not like cool enough to have friends, you know? Like that kind of self-talk, you know? And it tends to amplify as things go better. Like if things are going well and I'm having like good luck, that little voice will come in and be like, hey, you've had a lot of good luck. Kind of good timing for something shitty to happen, don't you think? You got to learn to control those voices because honestly, it's coming from a place of fear. In the end, like at the core root of everything, we are afraid to change. Not only to experience change, but to change internally. We fear this. You know, we for as much as we like things to be different and new and exciting all the time, we kind of are creatures of habit and routine, and so if we start sensing that either we're changing or the energy around us is changing or the environment is changing or the role that we're playing in life is changing, we can sometimes freak out. And it might not be as obvious as like an actual panic attack, like, oh my God, I'm freaking out. It might be really subtle, right? Where your fear starts to make you actually second guess your own thinking, or it makes you like for me in the past, my fear of like for friendships, for instance, I would have like this fear of like people don't actually want to be my friend, they're just using me for one thing or another, right? And that fear made it so that as I would get closer to people, I would then freak out and distance. And I didn't know I was doing this. I just stopped messaging people. I just stopped responding to people. I stopped actively being engaged in the friendship. Kind of like, I'm going to back off, and if they reach out and try to pull me back in, then maybe they really want to be my friend. But the other people on the other side of this were probably reading this as, okay, I guess, I'm not, interested or interesting enough for that friendship. So they would take it like I was rejecting them. And it was like, I get it, like that's that kind of thing I'm talking about, is those subtle little fears that we have inside, usually about changing and growing, becoming something different than who we are currently. Relationships changing, friendships changing, positions in your workplace changing. These things scare people at a core level, and it's that fear, I think, that motivates a lot of the self-sabotage and self-destruction, basically, where we tend to get too caught up in something, make something. For me, I blow things out of proportion, right? I spent like the first 3 days of this week obsessed over. Was I obsessed over? Oh yeah. So basically, I'm like a forecaster. So it's my job to like come up with like call volumes, basically, in like a call center environment, right? So it seems simple, kind of. I wanted this, like, I wanted to take the data that existed for this department and then put it into my own, like, Excel spreadsheet that shows the data kind of in the way I like to see it. And in my mind, the first 3 days of the week, it was like, this will be easy. I just need to take the thing and throw it in there and throw the data in there, and then I'll see all the graphs, and my mind will be happy, I'll feel better, I won't be so paranoid. After like 3 days of being obsessed with this thing and finally getting like a working copy of it and putting it in the data and seeing it all working, I realized, this is a bigger project. Like, this is something, in order for me to like do it right, I have to do it over like a long period of time. And I had to realize, right, have that moment where I'm like, I am fixating on this. I don't need to have this done this week, but I am fixating on it because I don't know what to fixate on. Like, I start getting freaked out and paranoid about things, or I start getting scared because I'm in like this new change energy, and I fixate on something. So the key for me is to identify what I'm fixating on, like try to catch it. And this time I didn't catch it for a couple of days. I saw the writing on the wall. Like, I knew that I was starting to fixate on it, but I didn't notice 100% until like Wednesday or Thursday, when I realized, like, just time-wise, I don't have the time to do what I think I can do in my mind, you know? And that's the kind of like compromising that you have to make sometimes when you're, for me, I self-sabotage by trying to do too much, right? And I get so caught up in one thing that I'll miss all this other stuff that I should be doing, right? So that's kind of my thing, is to try not to get too fixated on something that I can work on things later. I can grow my knowledge and I can do things the way I want to do it over time. But like for week 1, I was just panicked, you know, because I'm looking at all these documents that I don't understand, and there's so much data that is like overwhelming, honestly. And the idea that I'll have this solution in my mind that will make everything easier, and it won't, and it didn't. But I was fixating on it because it was easier to fixate on something like that than to admit that this is actually going to be like a long, drawn-out process. It's going to take me several months, if not years, to truly learn this job, like at a high level, the level that I expect myself to perform. And that scares me, because I like to be able to go in somewhere and perform a certain level already exceeding expectations. And in this case, I'm not going to do that for a while. Like, my own expectations of my performance, I'm gonna have to start like lowering, because I don't know, you know? It's gonna take me time. And I think that's the hardest thing with change, is admitting that you aren't done with it, that we're in the process of change, and that it will take time, and that you're not gonna wake up tomorrow and everything will be done and life is good, that life is consistently changing, that no matter what your problems are today, even if all of those problems were solved before you go to bed, there will be new things on the table tomorrow. Now, if you see everything in life as problems, it's difficult to continue to tackle those. It's draining. If instead you see all these things in life as opportunities for growth and for advancement, every time you run into one of these, instead of getting annoyed or bothered by the problem, you can be excited and anticipating the growth and the opportunity for growth. Yeah. Yes. So either way, I'm excited. It's been a fun week. I'm going to continue to learn. I will keep doing these videos on Saturdays and keep the progress kind of going. I will say I've had a lot of weird paranormal events happening in the last few months, specifically in the last couple of weeks. More on that in the future. I guess I could do a whole separate video on it. But basically, paranormal stuff's kind of popping off a little bit. And I guess that's to be expected with my grandfather passing away. My grandmother's ashes are in the house that we live in, and his ashes are now there as well. And so there's like a thing happening. I have a lot of crystals and like all these like the Tibetan bowl that makes this really cool like sound, and then the Tibetan bell, and then, you know, so I think I may kind of be amplifying some of this energy. I might be slightly utilizing it for, you know, selfish and internal growth purposes. But hey, when your house is haunted or has some kind of energy in it, and you don't necessarily want to get rid of it because it's actually family, you just kind of find a way to roll with it. So, you know, I'm not crazy. Or am I? Who knows? I'm not as crazy as some of the people in this world today, though, that is for sure. That is all I'll talk about today, because I could just keep going for hours and hours, and that's not good for any of us. So enjoy. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Talk to me, you know, comments, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. Thank you.